Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with you today. As Rachel mentioned, my name is Caitlin, and I am a host of the Ontario Science Centre. And today I'm joined by Sanchita from Respite Services. So it's a pleasure to have her here with us as well. Now, if you're not familiar with Sensory-Friendly Saturdays, this is a program that we usually run the first Saturday of every month on site at the Ontario Science Centre. So that means that we're trying to just create that is accessible to everyone, so that we can all learn and enjoy and have fun together, no matter kind of what level you're at. It's just something for everyone. So we have lots of hands-on programs where we do lots of crafts and activities. Our IMAX films have the sound turned down and the lights turned up, so it's a little bit more comfortable for people. Our planetarium has more of a free flow and, again, lights up, so it's not quite so scary and dark in there. And we run family workshops where we have specialists like Sanchita who join us to talk about different or address something. We might have questions in terms of people, family members and other loved ones on the ASD spectrum, so that we can all just have a free space to discuss together. So that's a little bit about what we do for Sensory Friendly Saturdays and who I am. Sanchita, do you want to introduce yourself too?
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. My name is Sanchita, and I'm from respiteservices.com, Toronto region. So thank you all for joining us today. Today, I'll be speaking briefly about what respite is and what are the benefits of respite and how to access respite. Back to you, Caitlin.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to share about that. So we're going to run our virtual session kind of like we would in our family workshops. So typically, if we were in person, we'd have some activities set up around the room so that we can keep ourselves busy while we have a bit of a presentation from our specialist. But since we're all together in Zoom today instead, I'm going to be running a little activity so we can get going and keep our hands busy if we need to, and then Sanchita is going to go into her presentation. And of course, as Rachel said, if you have any questions at all, please let us know. You can use the Q&A function or put up your hand and we'll get to you when we can. All right. So our virtual activity today is going to be leaf rubbings. Now, I bet a lot of you have gone out on walks recently and seen how beautiful the trees are with the changing colors, and probably seeing that a lot of the trees are bare now too with all the leaves on the ground. So there are a lot of things that are changing in our world right now, and especially with the changing of the seasons. So we're able to use those falling leaves to create a beautiful piece of artwork. So I encourage you, on one of your walks, go out and pick up some of those leaves, because you're going to need them for this kind of activity. Pick them up from the ground, not from the trees, because the trees do use them as long as they can. But if you're picking them up from the ground, you want to look for ones that are still very flat and are not too crunchy yet. So you'll need a few leaves. Try to pick ones that are different shapes and sizes. You'll need some crayons and you'll need some paper. So to get started, you're going to take your leaf and you're going to put it underneath a sheet of paper, just like this. It's pretty simple. All you do then is you take a crayon and hold it almost sideways above your paper and just rub it gently over the top, coloring in all over. And what you'll start to notice is at first you'll just see kind of the veins or the bumpy parts of the leaves. But as you keep going, you'll end up getting an outline of the entire leaf. And if you try this with lots of different kinds of leaves, you'll end up seeing that there are lots of different patterns and shapes and things that you might not have noticed the first time that you looked at your leaf. So that's what I've got there so far. I don't know if you can see. We can do this over and over again with lots of leaves and really try to see what makes each leaf individual or different from other kinds. Because different kinds of trees will have different kinds of leaves. Now, even with the samples that I've brought in today, we have lots of different colors and shapes. So why are they changing colors? Why are they even on the ground there for us to pick up now? Well, it all has to do with, as I said before, the changing of the seasons. So in the summer and the spring, there's lots of sunlight. And plants, trees especially, use their leaves to collect sunlight and make energy or food from that sunlight. So they're able to do that because there's so much light. And there's something inside the leaves called chlorophyll that helps them to do that. And that chlorophyll is super green. Now, as we get later and later in the year into fall and winter, we get less and less sunlight and the days get shorter and shorter. That means that the leaves aren't able to create as much energy from the sunlight, and it kind of isn't really worth it for them anymore. So since they can't make their energy from the light, they start to lose their chlorophyll and become less green. So it's not so much that the leaves are turning orange or yellow, but that they're losing their green. And then they fall off the trees because that is a way of saving energy for the trees and saving water too, is by shedding their leaves. Now, you might think, well, I mean, not all trees go completely bare during the winter, right? We have evergreen trees and pine trees that have that keep their needles throughout the year. And needles are kind of just like leaves, but they're tightly rolled up and they have kind of a waxy coating on them. So they do the exact same thing. They're full of chlorophyll too, but the shape of them and that waxy coating helps to keep the water inside so they don't dry out and they're able to do their job a little bit better. Plus, even though we can't see it so much, the tree is then able to shed those needles one at a time or in little chunks instead of all at once as it needs to, rather than having to shed them all and then use a ton of energy to grow them up again in the spring. So that's one reason why there is a difference between our pine trees or evergreen trees and the leafy trees that we're able to collect those leaves and make that beautiful artwork. Now, if you want to get a little bit more hands-on, or if you're a little bit more tactile, you can keep going with coloring the leaves like I did, or you can take some Play-Doh and make an imprint of it. So I've flattened out my piece of Play-Doh here, made it into a nice little pancake, and I'm going to put a leaf on top of that with the kind of the veiny side down, the bumpier side down. Then I'm going to take a book, I've got a nice big one here, and I'm going to press my leaf into the Play-Doh. Nice and hard. Ooh, press really hard there. Okay, so it should be good. Then I can peel the leaf off of the Play-Doh gently because I don't want to rip the leaf. And you can get a bit of an impression of the leaf onto the Play-Doh. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. There's the stem there. And that leaves some bumps and ridges that you can feel then too. So you can feel the leaf as well as see it. So I encourage you, if you are someone who likes to keep your hands busy like me, feel free to check out the link on our website if you want some more instructions, and to keep going with coloring these leaves and doing the leaf rubbings, or to keep doing these impressions. They are a lot of fun and it helps to keep hands busy, helps me to focus. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Sanchita and we're going to hear a little bit about what she's doing over at Respite Services.
Thank you, Caitlin. So let me share my screen. So today, as I mentioned, we are going to talk about what respite is and what are the benefits of respite and how to access respite. So let's look at what respite is. Respite care provides a short planned break from the physical and emotional demands involved in caring for a family member who has a disability. It creates great opportunity for all family members to live actively and to participate in community activities. It allows parents and guardians time for themselves. So respite looks different for each family. So it could be planned for a few hours to a full day or over a weekend. Some families may look to hire a respite worker to come to their home every day, either in the morning to help the individual to get ready for school or a day program, or in the evening after school to help the individual with the homework or play some games or even to explore outside activities. So some families, they might look to send their children away for a program. So these programs, respite programs, they might differ. They could be offering respite programs during the week in the after school or over a weekend. Respite can take place regularly or intermittently as you need it. So it could be once a month or once in 2 months. What you have to remember is respite, it's not crisis or emergency support. It is a planned break. So let's look at what are the benefits of respite. It provides an opportunity to teach new skills or even to solidify the skills that the individual has already learned. It could be communication skills, safety skills. If it is an older individual, it could be money management or even independence on the TTC. So families could engage the service of a one-to-one worker to help them to work on those skills together. It also promotes independence. It could be achieving independence in personal care with feeding or toileting. It also provides opportunity to try new activities like developing community and recreational integration. It allows individuals to socialize with other individuals in a group setting or one-to-one setting. So when an individual goes to a respite program, the programs are fun for the individual as well. So they will be doing some arts and crafts activities, or even they go on community outings. It also provides an opportunity for the individual to get a break from the caregiver or the family. On the flip side of it, there are benefits of respite for the caregiver as well. It avoids caregiver burnout, stress and fatigue, and also it allows more quality time for the caregiver to spend time with other family members. It allows caregiver the ability to maintain friendship and also to take care of themselves, self-care. They could even take a walk or even go for a yoga program. Caregivers also have the chance to tend to other important household needs. It could be the cooking or cleaning. So at respiteservices.com, we are the centralized access point for information on respite for the Toronto region. So if you are living out of the Toronto region, you can go to our website at www.respiteservices.com and get connected with the respective regions. So who do we serve? We serve individuals under the age of 18 with a developmental disability, including autism and or physical disability, and or who are medically complex. If the individual is over than 18 years old, they need to be eligible for services with Developmental Services of Ontario. And to get services from our office, you must be living in the Toronto region. So how do families can get connected with our services? So there is a registration form which is available online on our website. Families can complete the registration form and get connected with us. They can also call us directly over the phone. I will be sharing the phone number at the end of the presentation. And if the family is connected with an agency, that agency could refer families to our services as well. So what are the services that we provide? We provide family orientation sessions where in a group setting, we will invite families to come and where we share information on respite programs and how to get connected with these programs, and also what are the funding options that are available. We provide funding workshops, and also we do options facilitation. It's a respite planning where we help families with planning for the respite. And also we have a chat. It is a database to engage in services provided by an independent respite provider. So funding workshop. We help families with completing the funding application forms, SSAH and ACSD. SSAH stands for Special Services at Home. It's a program that helps families who are caring for a child with a developmental or physical disability to pay for special services in or outside the family home. There is no income requirement to apply for this funding. The Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities is a program that provides financial assistance to parents to help with extraordinary costs related to child's severe disability. It is income-based. We offer group sessions as well as one-to-one sessions to assist with completing the funding application forms. Also, we also help with private charity funding. And also we help families to explore other funding options just to help the family with any gaps in the services. CHAP, as I mentioned before, stands for Community Helpers for Active Participation. It is a database that we have at respiteservices.com to engage the services of a one-to-one support worker, either for in-home support or more community-based support. These workers are skilled and have experience. So they have expressed their interest to work with individuals who has a developmental or physical disability. They come from various backgrounds. They are not employees of respiteservices.com. They are independent respite providers. As you can see, it says that independent respite provider database is updated regularly as new independent respite providers join the database, and we make successful matches with the families who are requiring them. So connecting to respite services, how can it benefit a family? So to explore what funding options that may be available and to get assistance with completing the funding application forms, SSH and ACST. And also the families will become familiar with what respite options are available, such as what are the respite programs, evening, weekend respite, or even overnight respite. We might be able to give some information as to the programs that are offering these, agencies which are offering these programs, and also how to get connected with them. If you need additional information, it can be obtained on our website at www.respiteservices.com/Toronto. Also, you can connect with us over the phone directly at 416-322-6317, and the extension is 1. And also you can email us at info@respiteservices.com. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sanchita. I, for one, learned about a lot of different, there's so many different resources out there that are available, and that's really wonderful to hear. We're going to stop recording the presentation in just a minute. But before we do, I just want to let you know that we're stopping to record so that you can ask your questions if you need to. So it's a good time to start thinking of if you have anything that you'd like to ask Sanchita, or even me if you have questions about our sensory-friendly Saturdays or about the leaves, that's fine too. And if you enjoyed this program and would like to know more about it, or even have your feedback so that we can know about what you'd like to see in the future, please let us know. There is a link in the chat to a survey that'll only take about 2 or 3 minutes, and that'll really help us to know what kind of topics you're interested in hearing about in the future and what kinds of activities. It would help us out a lot. So feel free to fill that in, and also to check out our website too if you want to know about upcoming events, or to check the Respite Services website or the Geneva Center for Autism website as well.